Listen, kids, when life throws you a lemon, you make lemonade. But when life throws you a hand grenade, you throw it right the fuck back and follow up with some mortars and rifle fire. It's Bennie Adkins on today's Motivated Moments in History. Bennie G. Adkins was born in Waurika, Oklahoma in 1934. He was a professed knucklehead whose only desires at the time were women and baseball. After graduating high school, he attended college but soon dropped out. He was drafted into the Army in 1956 and was assigned as an admin clerk. Well, after one too many paper cuts and being a pogue-ass bitch, he decided to turn his typewriter in and pick up a machine gun and become a super duper green beret and slay some motherfucking bodies. It was 1966. He was on his second deployment to Vietnam. There he was an advisor to a battalion of South Vietnamese irregulars and placed on a fire base in the USAlfa Valley near the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The only way in and out of this base was by air. The Viet Cong owned and patrolled all the roads and every inch of the jungle surrounding the camp. Simply put, he was in the eye of a hurricane. And the hurricane was a bunch of angry Vietnamese dudes with raided hats and AK-47s. He and his men were fired on daily by the VC. And it was later discovered that these incidents were more or less probing attacks for a major assault. It was dark in the morning of March 9th, and the North Vietnamese were set up to launch a major attack on the base. Bennie was in a fighting position manning a mortar. The attack started with a volley of suspiciously accurate indirect fire that destroyed every mortar position except for his. Now, the enemy mortars did impact near his location. In fact, he was blown out of his pit 3 times. During one strike, the mortar crew was killed, and Bennie had to grab, a small handful of South Vietnamese irregulars and give them the world's quickest 11 Charlie AIT. Despite the danger of the enemy's high priority fires on his position, he remained and continued returning indirect fires onto the enemy. Early in the battle, Bennie noticed his team sergeant was badly hit in the attack. Suffering from some shrapnel wounds, Bennie still got up and raced towards the downed comrade and carried him to a landing strip outside the wire where there was a small fixed-wing aircraft waiting on him to transport the wounded to safety and medical aid. Braving the onslaught of incoming indirect and now small arms fire, he returned to the mortar pit and resumed dropping some serious hate on those whiny-ass VC. It was at this time that he noticed that one of the companies in the battalion he was advising had traded allegiances and begun to fight alongside the VC. So now not only is he fighting off enemy troops outside the wire, he's got to fight enemy troops inside the wire. And he discovered this when one of the men that he was training turned and shot him dead in the leg. So Adkins fought off the enemy in every conceivable direction and somehow held off the main assault for the remainder of the day. This was also while running outside the camp to retrieve airdrop ammunition and supplies while treating the wounded friendly soldiers. The night came again, and with it was more shelling. It was the early hours of March 10th, and the VC started chucking hand grenades at him. A grenade landed in his mortar pit, and one of the Vietnamese irregulars he was training attempted to kick it out of the position, but Blair Walsh that sumbitch and lost his leg. Well, Bennie was smacked pretty hard by the grenade shrapnel, but he was still able to maneuver. Then another grenade came floating in. Well, Bennie, he was a catcher for his high school baseball team. So he caught that sumbitch and threw it right back to where it came from and served that VC fucktard a grenade with a side of rice. Throughout the day, he fought. When he ran out of ammo, he led his crew to a communications bunker and began taking out the invading force with small arms. When he got low on rifle ammunition, he ran back to the mortar pit, threw swarms of enemy bullets and explosions, retrieved more ammo, then ran back to the bunker. Now, Bennie and his men, they eventually retook the camp, but they knew they couldn't hold it. After 38 hours of fierce fighting, they finally decided to evacuate. Now, Bennie and his men knew they just couldn't leave the bunker and hop over the perimeter. They'd be killed. So they had to dig a tunnel from the rear bunker and Shawshank Redemption that sumbitch outside the camp. 18 U.S. helicopters came to rescue them, but 10 of them were destroyed. Now, Bennie, he loaded up the wounded onto the choppers and ran back into the now overrun camp to retrieve a wounded American. When he finally got outside the wire to where the birds were, the last helicopter had left. Now, Bennie and his physically capable counterparts had to go into the VC-controlled jungles and attempt to evade capture, as well as provide continuous life-saving aid to their wounded comrade. Now, drenched with sweat and blood and smelling like fucking wounded rodents, things couldn't really get worse. But then a freaking tiger showed up. A freaking tiger! It's not bad enough that a company under his watch turned foe and started killing his own people. It's not enough that his base was overrun. It's not bad enough that 10 helicopters crashed and burned on the LZ. It's not bad enough they were in a jungle without evacuation resources. And it's not bad enough that he was wounded by grenades and gunshots and all that shit. Now a freaking tiger was after them. A tiger! This is not some Tony the Tiger or Siegfried and Roy punk-ass cat. This is a wild freaking tiger. Not some zoo tiger, a wild tiger. Not some chump-ass tiger you see in exhibits or pet and take selfies with. This is a 430-pound, pissed-off, hungry-as-fuck tiger. Hunting them. If things aren't bad enough, now you got a tiger on your ass. That freaking sucks. Somehow, Bennie and his men successfully evaded the enemy for 48 hours until a rescue could be made. Upon the rescue, he was flown to a naval hospital ship and was then sent right back out into the jungle to do the same damn thing all over again. The balls on this dude. Dude, you're being tracked by a tiger, blown the hell up, and now you're gonna go back out there. I saw a corn snake on my porch, and I ain't been out the front door in 6 damn weeks. This guy went back into the jungle after being blown up, shot, and hunted by a freaking tiger. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for his bravery in battle, in which he was accredited with killing 175 enemy troops. He returned to the States in September that year and went back to Vietnam for his third deployment in 1971. He retired in 1978 as a command sergeant major. In 2014, after a Pentagon-wide records review, Bennie's Distinguished Service Cross was upgraded and he was finally awarded the Medal of Honor. As of this recording, he is still alive and remains in Oklahoma. And that, kids, is your Motivated Moments in History.